Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Whalen. So we're back in person now.
Back in person.
Well, for now. For now. If anyone saw our season 1 or season 8 intro or first episode, yeah, we did that over Riverside.
Yeah.
But now we're back in person.
Yeah, for now. We'll see how long that lasts. Still working on getting out of here.
Yeah, but
Takes longer than you'd think.
yeah.
I'll tell you that.
So how you been, buddy?
We been okay.
Yeah, we haven't seen
I know.
each other in a while.
It's sorry, I'm shifting. It's been a while. Yeah, you're right.
Well, because you went out of town for spring break, which I didn't realize. I always forget that you have the same schedule as teachers.
Yes.
So I'm like, why are you? It's the middle of the week. Why are you in McKinney?
Yeah, spring break. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was fun. Got a new car.
I know. Good so long to Toyota.
Yeah, my Sporty Spice gone.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. My old car, Sporty Spice, gone.
That's amazing.
Yeah. This one is a Subaru Crosstrek, very exciting stuff, hatchback.
Have you named it yet?
Ruby Sue, because she's a Subaru.
Oh my god.
There it is.
Oh my god.
So anyway, so Ruby, she's great. Great car. I'm excited. There's a screen. I have CarPlay, which is cool.
Yeah, I am very jealous because I told you that's not specifically the model I wanted, but I wanted a Crosstrek at least with CarPlay.
They're so cool, yeah.
Because I'm tired of using the Bluetooth transmitters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want.
That's what I had.
I just want, yeah.
And there's a screen. I'm not, and you're not either used to a screen. It's
I'm assuming it also has a backup.
It
camera.
does,
dude. That throws me off. Like,
it's wild, dude. It does help though. I backed into a spot the other day. Oh, I know. I've never done that before.
I don't like doing that.
So let me tell you something. So while this is off the subject of cars, I was watching a TikTok video, right? Okay. Actually, this has happened several times on my TikTok feed. I follow a lot of people that collect physical media, so movies, vinyls,
right?
And they're always like really upset when their viewership drops. They're like, yeah, I'm like the algorithm's off. My videos haven't been getting a lot of views lately, so I decided to take a break or make another account. I go, you would never survive doing our show, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's like, and it's not really fun anymore because I'm not getting any views. Like, just do it for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was telling someone about my podcast, and they're like, yeah, like, how much money do you make on it? And I'm like,
money?
Oh, like, money? And like, no.
It's just for big leagues.
It's just for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if the day ever came, when we would get paid it, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
But I mean, still, Criterion, please, for the love of God,
oh my God, please.
Sponsor us.
Today I bought Inland Empire.
And I'm jealous.
I'm very excited about that. I've been waiting for a legitimate Blu-ray release.
Because it had a very limited, like, DVD release, right?
Oh yeah, I don't even think it got, like, a legitimate American release.
Damn.
Like, because the one I do have a DVD copy, and disc is spelled with a K. So...
That... is
but it's
awesome.
But it's a region A, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need like a crazy, region free thing to play it. It's bizarre.
And it's director approved.
Yes.
This Criterion version, so you know Lynch had a hand in it.
And Lynch actually does care because he was talking about the Kino Lorber Lost Highway release. And he was like, they didn't talk to me about any of it. They just did it. And,
really?
Or whatever. Like, and the transfer's terrible. I had nothing to do with it. And so he does care.
Thank God then Criterion got their hands on Lost Highway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, man, shout out to David Lynch.
I know.
God, love that dude.
It's the one time I've heard a director talk about a physical media release. Like, and that he cared about. Yeah.
Because he's the best.
I know.
Well, speaking of movies, then we'll get started on the episode. Sure. As I told you off mic, because I wanted to bring it up on mic. I learned recently that Jason Segel, who I am such a big fan of, and I want to be best friends with, one of his favorite movies is Harold and Maude. Yeah. Ashley and I went to the gym before this, and he had done a thing for Apple's Fitness Plus where you could walk with him, and he just talks about his life, and it's really cool. He tells this really funny story that I won't bore people with.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
So this is just a technical question about the service. Is it like on a screen on the treadmill, or is it like on your phone?
It's on your phone.
Got it.
And what's really cool now that you have an Apple Watch, while I was walking on the treadmill and he was telling stories, I would feel my wrist vibrate and I'd look down and it would be a photo that he gave to Apple to coincide with the story he was telling.
That's cool.
I was like, that's so cool.
That's very interactive.
But then towards the end of it, he played these three songs that he picked out. And the last one was If You Want to Sing Out, Sing Out by Cat Stevens, which I think we used the whole version on the audio for Harold and Maude.
We may have.
Because it's a great song.
Yeah.
And then, he brings up Harold and Maude and how much he loved it. And I was like, I knew.
We're doing good work here on the show.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
Yeah. Pretty much. Anyways. So, Jeremy, would you like me to tell the people what we're talking about? Because this was my pick.
Yeah.
So, as we started the season with Jeremy's pick, because this is the season that Jeremy started, my pick today is actually the double feature. We are doing Batman and Batman Returns. Oh, in case you forgot, Jeremy's doing Fritz Lang movies. I'm doing Tim Burton movies. So technically, these two movies were not done back to back.
No.
He did a movie in between them, which we will talk about 2 weeks from now. But we figured, you know what? Well, this was your idea. Did you want to just tackle both movies at the same time?
I wanted to tackle both at the same time because the next week is going to be a 4-hour movie.
That's right, yeah.
And so this was a little bit more than 4 hours. I'll guarantee you're going to feel the 4 hours, I think, for the next one because it's a silent film, right? But with this one, I just felt like, double feature. And also I think I had miscounted or something, or maybe you wanted to add another one. I don't remember how we decided to do this, but I thought it would be fun to do a double feature just so we're not having to do Batman, do Scissorhands,
and then
Batman Returns. Let's just do both Batmans.
Yeah. Well, and also it's a good, since we wanted to do directors, it's a good showcase in how in the 3 years from Batman to Batman Returns, Tim really kind of honed in on everything.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff I definitely want to talk about.
Great. Awesome.
So we will start with 1989 Batman. Did you want me to do the synopsis?
Yeah.
That's right. That's because I did the one for Destiny. Okay, so Batman. I mean, honestly, the synopsis is your run-of-the-mill Batman story. The thing that I appreciate, and this ties into the synopsis, is we don't start the movie off with the death of the Waynes.
Not right off the bat.
Bruce is already...
Right off the bat. All right. It's gonna be a lot of that.
Bruce has already become Batman now. He's still new to Gotham. So this is sort of like a year one story, but...
A year one and he's like 40 years old.
But it's... I'm glad that Tim did not waste our time with the origin of Batman. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's more so origin of Joker, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway. So in this story, Batman is facing off his greatest rival, the Joker, played by Jack Nicholson. Every actor besides Jared Leto who has taken on the role of the Joker has knocked it out of the park in their own way. Would you agree?
Yeah, the shade to.
Okay, let me rephrase. Suicide Squad Jared Leto. What Zack Snyder did for his recut of Justice League was infinitely more menacing.
Yeah.
But Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Joker was awful.
Yeah.
Anyways. Facing off with the Joker, and that's really kind of it.
Obviously the Joker's got motivations. He's more of an organized crime figure. He's more of a gangster figure, which is how he's known now. Because if you see, I don't know if you get stuff like this on your Facebook or whatever, Instagram, but they'll list off all the Jokers and then give them a category.
Yeah.
Right? the clown, the gangster, the anarchist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say in the comics by this point he's in 1989 he's considered like the clown prince of crime.
Yeah.
You know, not really a mobster, but just kind of we don't really get to the anarchist side of things until we get that Frank Miller. No, not Frank Miller. So we get the oh my God.
Oh no.
I had it right there. It was right
Jesus.
The Killing Joker. That's when it skews off and they start making him more of an anarchist, and then of course Heath Ledger knocked that out of the park. But anyway, I mean that's really about it. The synopsis of this movie is just a typical Batman adventure, really. I mean, I guess we can just go right into it. Sure. You know, Tim. I think what Tim did really well, even though he didn't write the script, is he didn't really want to felt like he didn't want to waste time trying to spoon feed the audience. Yeah. Like, hey, like you should know who Batman is by this point.
Well, yes. And then, of course, you know, you have to remember at this time we're dealing with, as far as live action Batmans go, you have Adam West.
Yes.
Right? And, I mean, you had the other one before then as well.
Yeah, you had some serials before that. Yeah, like everyone...
I had forgotten his name. But the Adam West Batman was the very popular, very well-known Batman at the time. Mm-hmm. And now we're going into this thing that is very Tim Burton. It's very dark, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll get more into it later, but rewatching it this time, I go, oh, but it's still fun. Yeah. You know, it's not so serious, right? Yeah. That's like the... Anyway, I told you it's going to happen a lot. Okay, so it's not taking itself so seriously, right? Which is what we're going to be used to for the rest of Batman's, except for the
two following...
The four, right? These four are the fun ones, right? I would say the first two are a perfect balance of fun and serious, and the other two are not so much.
Yes, shout out to our former greatest fan, Joel Schumacher.
Joel, I miss you every day.
Yes, we truly miss Joel.
Or we miss you every day. I don't know where he is.
But yes, when Joel took over, that's when we got more camp and more fun.
It's just absolutely just bananas, goofy nonsense, right? But these two are a great balance, I think, of serious and then very silly. Right?
Especially when we get to Batman Returns, which we're saving.
We'll get there. Yeah. But with this one, I like that, and I clocked it, and I don't remember the scene now, but there's a scene where they're in this very dark, black painted room, and it just feels so Tim Burton to me that he just lets the light naturally bounce off the black walls, you know? This hard light on the walls, which to me is very Tim Burton. I don't know why I think of it that way. I think it's in that way in Beetlejuice as well. Yeah. But to me, that just seems like, oh, it's just black in there. You know what I mean? But you're still letting a very hard, like either lamplight or even a light, like for the production, like still hit the wall that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Michael Keaton, listen, there's a lot. Michael Keaton is tremendous. Yeah. That's not negotiable, right?
Mom and I were having a talk recently. Because I told her we were doing these two, and she was like, why? I was like, why?
For fun.
Why? And we both agreed. Cause,
what's it to you, Mick? Hey.
Because we were talking about the different Batmans. Different actors who have portrayed Batman.
I'm sorry, it's the way you pronounced it.
Batmans. And we both agreed that Michael Keaton is definitely the more or less comic book accurate version of Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yes.
Christian Bale, of course, is the more realistic version because Christopher Nolan, that's how he wrote him. Yeah. To exist in a realistic space. Ben Affleck also is sort of a comic book accurate version. Sure. More so The Dark Knight Returns, grittier, older Batman. And then Robert Pattinson also kind of takes it back to the hyper-realism, where it's almost like this could actually happen. Right. But anyway, Michael Keaton is he's on point. Because just like with Spider-Man, you have to have a good balance, in my opinion. You have to be a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman.
And I think what makes Michael Keaton a good comic book accurate Batman, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know all the comic book stuff, I'm going to be relaying that to you a lot.
That's fine.
Is that to look at him, you don't think that guy could kick someone's ass, right?
Yes.
No, you don't think that when you're looking at Michael Keaton in his suit or his tux. You know, you're not thinking, "Oh, that dude could really beat me at arm wrestling." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not happening.
It's like it's like the Jimmy Kimmel skit of Batman v Superman when like Ben Affleck puts the phone up here and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's Batman." Yeah. You don't think that when you see Michael Keaton, which is the point,
right?
You know, Bruce Wayne doesn't want to be immediately recognized as Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah. And of course, you know, Michael Keaton, as he is in everything, is also very charming.
Yes.
Like when he meets Vicky Vale for the first time.
Yeah. Is she in the comics?
Vicky Vale? Yeah.
Okay.
They don't really have like a relationship.
Okay.
In the comics, but yeah, he knows her, and she knows him, not as Batman. She just knows Bruce Wayne.
Oh, I asked that question, and of course I'm about to follow it up with, I read in the comics that she's a redhead, and that she's not blonde. And of course, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
dye Kim Basinger's hair. Who fucking cares?
and later on, I think they redesigned Vicky Vale to have blonde hair.
Really, that's interesting.
Because I remember
like it fucking matters. I just thought it was interesting.
I remember in one of the Batman games I've played, I think it was Arkham Knight, which is a great game.
Is it?
Vicky Vale shows up in it and she's blonde.
Interesting. Vicky Vale. Okay.
So.
Well, I guess because she's not in any of the others, right? She's only in this one.
Well.
She's mentioned in Returns, but then.
Yeah, and I learned, this isn't us getting into Return yet, but it's because one of the things that Michael Keaton really wanted when he agreed to come back is he didn't want this to be a continuation of the first one. He wanted it to be its own kind of standalone. And Tim assured him, like, no, it will be a standalone. I think they had to throw that in just to be like, acknowledge, like, hey,
we're aware this is a sequel.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway.
I also had a question about, and this doesn't mean anything, but I was Googling and IMDbing during the movie. And I was like, wait, then who's Nicole Kidman? Right? Nicole Kidman was the psychiatrist, the doctor.
Yes, and I think she was made for the movie.
Okay, so she doesn't exist in these.
As far as I know, yeah. Okay. Same with Max Schreck when we get to Return.
I was going to ask you about Max Schreck, but we're going to get to that.
Yeah. So, anyway, so Michael Keaton,
Michael Keaton's tremendous. I think he's a wonderful Batman. I completely understand why people say he is their favorite, right? Mm-hmm. Get it. No complaints, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
When you get to Nicholson's a whole nother level. Like, this dude, he might not be like my favorite type of Joker. My favorite type of Joker is terrifying, right? That's the kind that I like.
Heath Ledger, yeah.
Right.
Heath Ledger set that bar way too high.
I need him to be scary, right? That's what I like.
Yeah.
But this Joker is sort of like a ramped up Cesar Romero.
I was just about to say, if you took Cesar Romero and you took Heath Ledger and you met in the middle, there's Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Because he's still scary, especially near the end where he's starting to, really ramp up and get angry. Right? Mm-hmm. That's when he gets a little more scary. And I think he's sort of scary when he's also, mentioning that his gal, jumped out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I guess he threw acid on her face or something. And made her wear that mask and that porcelain mask. Oh, that shit is scary. Which again, I like. Right? Yeah. I love the concept of him putting makeup on his face.
Yes. Yeah, that was cool. Especially in the scene when she throws the water on his face.
Yes.
And then it's the white makeup through. Like,
yeah.
So.
Well, and because in this version of the Joker, his skin is just white. Right, because of the
dye. Yeah, it's not makeup, which was really interesting because, again, knowing more about the Joker, Tim, and I think Tim did a great job, and the writers, of trying to kind of answer the question of who could he have been.
Right. So then I wanted to ask you about that because there's a few things in this that I was sort of like, I know where I stand and I know what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Mm-hmm. I want to know how accurate this is, what was made up, what was a choice, because, so first I'm giving him an origin. That I don't like. I've never liked the Joker to have one because I want him to be mysterious. I want him to be this sort of otherworldly figure that just came out of nowhere, right? That I sort of like.
Oh, yeah.
Having him be the one that killed the Waynes, I do not like at all.
Really?
I don't like that because that's too... Again, it's too significant to Batman, I think.
Like, it's almost like it's faded
Maybe,
in a way.
But also, it's just, too coincidental, number one, which I don't like. But also, again, it goes with I want him to come out of nowhere. I want him just to appear and be this menacing force in Gotham, right?
Right.
Is that in any of the comics?
No.
Him being the one that murdered the Waynes?
No. As far as I know, it was just like in Batman Begins, just a regular thug killed him.
Yeah.
And of course, the biggest thing is in the comics, he doesn't have an origin. The Killing Joke did a really good job because they did give him an origin, but they don't give him a name.
Yeah.
We still don't know who he is.
Or even if it's true.
That is true. The Killing Joke is a fantastic graphic novel. I highly recommend everyone read it. If you want to watch the movie, I guess just fast forward through 30 the first literally the first 30 minutes. Fast forward through that because it adds nothing.
It needed to be an hour,
I know, but it added.
I don't think it needed to be.
It didn't add anything. Bruce and Barbara Gordon have sex like that. That added nothing.
Oh, it's wild. Yeah, it really earns that R rating.
But they did. But the thing that, like I said, the thing I like about the Killing Joke is they gave him an origin, which may or may not be true, but they don't give him a name, which I think still adds to the mystery. As where they gave him a name, Jack Napier, which is a little weird of a...
Do you think Jack Nicholson's like, can his name just be Jack so I don't have to work that hard? It seems like a Jack Nicholson move. It probably isn't. I love to think it's like, can his name be Jack?
That
was my first time ever doing a Jack Nicholson impression.
And all the stuff I was reading, to be honest, this was Jack's favorite role. He said he
watched it in his house.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah, he said he loved this role.
It's so crazy.
I think it's because they kind of let him do whatever he wanted, in my opinion.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah. But okay. I can see what you're saying about the Waynes, because that is a little too coincidental. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of see it as the interpretation of it, Is
this also the first live action of the Murder of the Waynes?
I believe so. I never watched the...
Did he set the trend of the pearls? Who did that? Is that a comic thing?
I think it's a comic.
Oh, okay.
I think it's in the comics.
Because it's in everyone.
Yeah, fucking...
If pearls got to hit the ground in pieces, guys. It's that easy. Except I liked in this one they went to a movie. They didn't
instead of the theater.
It's still the Monarch Theater, but it's a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Zack Snyder used that in Batman v Superman. They're leaving a movie theater.
I don't remember that. I hated that movie. I remember being excited. It was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Thomas Wayne.
And then I was like, oh, that's it. I'm gonna go. It was so bad. I hated it.
And then the stupid shot of the thug's gun getting wrapped around the pearls, and when he pulls the trigger, that's what breaks it. Like,
that was weird.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Like,
anyway.
Zach, just why?
But anyway, this doesn't have to be sort of like, I'm not saying that it was a terrible decision. I'm saying I don't like
and
that.
But I do see what you're saying. I do, but one of the things I really liked is they gave him a permanent smile.
Yes.
As where with Heath Ledger, which I'm sure I'm hoping everyone has seen The Dark Knight. It's what's called a Chelsea smile. Mm-hmm. So it's carved into his mouth, which sure could technically be a permanent smile, but Nicholson's is a permanent smile.
Yeah, and I liked that it's that way because his face was so badly harmed or damaged during the fight. It wasn't hey, my hair's green and my skin's white. Let's put a smile.
Yeah, because right before he falls in the vat, you can see that his cheeks were I think
it was
glass.
It was that steam, that pipe burst or whatever, and, and the shrapnel got his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course it burned his face because of the steam.
Yeah,
I like that. And I've also seen. That's not the first time I've seen someone falling into a vat of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens to Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad, but
she sacrifices. She sacrifices.
That's right.
To prove herself.
Right.
Cool.
And I think that's what happens to his version of the Joker too. I think.
Jared Leto?
In Jared Leto's, yeah. I think.
Probably.
Which must mean that in some iterations of the comic, that is what happens to him, I guess.
Well,
falls into a vat.
In the Killing Joke, that's what happens.
Right.
Because he takes a job to pay for his wife and his pregnant wife's like hospital bills when they eventually have the baby. So he takes a job to be the Red Hood, and he gets spooked by Batman, and he trips on the cape and falls into a vat, and then that's what dyes his skin white and dyes his hair green, and it drives him insane.
Yeah.
Because he can't back out because his wife got in a car accident and died.
Yeah.
And the mob won't let him back out of the job.
This is something I love about and respect about comics is that they're not afraid to be like, oh, well, this is just a different version of it. Like, there's no one,
origin,
definitive. Like, this is the story. It's like, it's all correct.
Well, and it also doesn't help that, comics get, just like in movies, comics get rebooted as well. And they take bits and pieces from previous arcs and then mash them together.
Right.
Yeah. Especially DC. Jesus Christ. Fucking New 52 and then Rebirth and now Metal. Jesus Christ.
No, don't know. But it's really interesting. I'll tell you my favorite retelling before we move on.
Okay.
Is Bruce dies at the Monarch, and his mom becomes the Joker,
and his dad
becomes Batman. Holy Jesus, I love that.
So, we were kind of talking about this off mic. So that's what's referred to as the Flashpoint paradox.
Okay.
Which is when the Flash goes back in time to stop his mom from being killed, and that's how it alters the timeline. Bruce dies, and his mom becomes the Joker. His dad becomes Batman. Unfortunately, for the Flash movie, which they are adopting the Flashpoint storyline.
That's not happening.
That's not happening.
We're getting Michael
Keaton back.
Yeah.
Which is what we were talking about off mic, that I was wondering if they redesigned his suit to where he could fucking hear out of it.
Right, or move.
Yeah. But, anyway.
Okay. Okay.
So we have Nicholson and we have Keaton.
Again, both tremendous. I think they're wonderful.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, I like how this movie balances both its serious dark tone, which is what Burton is good at, but also keeping with, it's just a comic book movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. These are basically cartoons. Right?
Yeah, I definitely think Knox, the reporter, is just a walking comic book strip. Because he's...
Oh, Robert Wool?
Yeah, he's so over the top.
Yeah.
And just so...
A little harassy with...
with Vicky Vale. Jesus Christ. I forgot how... I was like, oh my God.
It's weird seeing it now, right?
Yeah. But he's so funny, like his whole, yeah, Wayne, can you give me a grant? Just...
So stupid.
It's just also, off the cuff. He actually, if I remember correctly, he comes back. He gets to play Knox again in the Arrowverse CW.
Oh, interesting.
In the Crisis of Infinite Earths storyline, and they refer to that as the Burton universe.
That's fun.
Yeah, but then of course it gets wiped from existence, and they had to reboot the universe.
Oh my God.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I 100% agree, especially with Nicholson, because I think he threads that line the whole movie.
Yes. And now I'm going to say something very controversial.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Oh, God.
This rewatch did not like the Prince songs. I didn't like it. I didn't think it fit at all.
It really didn't.
It didn't fit.
Especially the end.
I love Prince so much.
Prince, we miss you.
This is not I love
Dude,
Prince.
He's the best.
I even think, this is getting on a Prince tangent, but I even think that some of his albums after he became a devout Jehovah's Witness, I even think those are pretty good.
He did?
There's the Rainbow Children which is fucking awesome. It's a mix of of jazz, funk, rock. It's awesome.
Dude.
And that was back in 98, 99, something like that. 2000, he became a DiMaggio until the day he died.
That's wow.
I know. So, anyway.
But yeah, the only scene I let it give a pass is when he's destroying the art. Yes.
Okay, that worked. Nicholson's dancing to a different song at the end. When he's on the floor. He's got to be. I'm just saying. He is going nuts on that thing. And I'm like, the tempo doesn't match. You know what I mean? He's not dancing to this Prince song.
Yeah, and
even Burton didn't like the Prince songs. It was one of the producers or one of the writers' idea
to have Prince do the whole, because it's technically one of his albums.
Yeah,
it's a whole album. So, and we'll get to that in a second. But Burton did not have a lot of fun with this one.
When I read that Tim Burton didn't like the Prince songs, is before I watched the movie again, and I go, come on, man. Relax, it's Prince.
And
Prince,
then you watch it and you're like,
I got it.
Yeah.
I got 100%.
Yeah, it's the end. Yeah.
At the parade, it makes it doesn't fit.
It really doesn't. The part in the art gallery, it works.
I liked it at the art gallery.
Yeah.
That was cool. And I love that he refused to paint over the Francis Bacon because it's already scary, right? It's and I like that the Joker likes scary things.
Yeah.
Or unsettling things. And of course, Francis Bacon, Google Francis Bacon paintings, not at night, and enjoy it because they're really wonderful and they're very frightening. At night. They're so scary.
Yeah, man. It's, which I guess could be a good segue. Yeah, Tim did not apparently have a good time making this movie.
Did he? We'll get to the second one, obviously, but did he like the second one more? He came back for another one, you know?
So, yeah. So, technically, yes. He did like making the second one more. But he has gone on record to say that he finds this movie kind of boring. And, to be honest...
I understand.
So do I. Even though I love the movie, I think it's... Yeah. I think this was the catalyst for everything we got after it.
There is nothing I can say about this movie. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I can say that will ever change the fact that it gave us the animated series, which is a gift from God.
Oh, R.I.P. to Kevin Conroy.
The animated series is my definitive Batman. He is my favorite Batman. And so...
Yeah. Well, and again, like we just said, Michael Keaton was worried about people figuring out the secret identity of Bruce. So it was his idea to drop his voice lower when he was Batman. Yeah. Which then, of course, Kevin Conroy used, Christian Bale used. Ben Affleck didn't really use it. They did like a whole voice modulator thing on his, which is smart.
Dumb. I disagree.
And Robert used it in the Batman. Well, kind of.
I mean,
his Batman just kind of is always...
His Batman's super emo.
His Batman always just sounds pissed off.
His Batman is basically a My Chemical Romance video, and I love it so much. Anyway.
No Nirvana, because that's all they play.
I know.
Nirvana.
There's something in the way. That's all they play.
But yeah, so the animated series, and they use Danny Elfman's score.
Yes. So I desperately try to find another connection, right? Because I go, did Tim Burton produce it?
I think he had a hand in it. Or at least...
Nothing I could find.
At least that I think he consulted. And that was it. But here's the... No, that was Spider-Man. No, my bad. I was going to say, the wildest thing about the animated series, none of the writers read the comics, but that's actually the Spider-Man animated series.
Which is still...
It's still a
wonderful,
great show. The 90s had great animated shows. But yeah, so even though I do agree with Tim that the first Batman movie
can be a little boring.
It's a little boring. I told Mom, talking to Mom about it today, I was like, it is a bit of a litmus test, I've learned. And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, nothing really happens in it until the last 30 minutes.
It's a lot of
buildup.
You're right. It's a lot of setup, right? There's a little bit of interaction, but a lot of setup, right? We're just following single characters on their own a lot.
Yeah, we have Vicky Vale and Knox trying to find Batman. We have Batman trying to stop the Joker and also keep Vicky Vale from uncovering his secret identity.
Yeah.
which
until he just gives up on it.
well, fucking Alfred just walks her into the Batcave.
Yeah.
And then
he's Batman. Here you go.
And then Joker trying to just wreak havoc,
take over Gotham.
He's
taking it's a classic take over Gotham plot, but trying to do it in sort of an organized crime way.
Yeah,
and in a consumer way, and also in a poison gas way, and also in a, by the way, super cartoony, the poison gas, and I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, and I think they use that a lot for the
animated series.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but I mean, but again, at the same time, this, like I said, this movie was the catalyst.
Yeah.
For everything. We probably would have never gotten Nolan's trilogy had Tim never. And that's the thing. And I think even though Tim found it boring, if Tim Burton hadn't been the one to direct it, mm-hmm. I don't think it would have had the cultural impact.
I don't know. Well, here's the deal. Because eventually, I think we would have gotten a dark one only because that's where the comics are going. I think once Frank Miller took over...
Dude, shout out to Frank Miller, dude.
I know enough about comics to know that. Once Frank 100%. Miller took over Batman, it was like super dark, brooding. Yeah. He sometimes he has a gun, sort of Batman.
Yeah.
And it's darker. So eventually, maybe right?
Yeah.
But because Frank Miller did that even, I think, before Batman came out. So I think is how the timeline goes. I think he got it in the 80s.
Yeah, I think right at the
which makes perfect sense because that was the time I did. Also, I've seen a documentary about comics before. That was when comics were starting to get a little darker anyway because
because the comics code authority, which is much like the MPAA, is ran by monkeys. Because we were getting out of the Silver Age of comics and into, or I think we were going into the Silver Age of comics, I believe. I don't remember. The Silver Age and the Bronze Age are very confusing.
The documentary was narrated by Keith David, by the way.
Dude! Man, shout out to Keith David. Why hasn't he been in a Batman
I don't know. He's so good. I love Keith David.
But
so anyway, Tim Burton did set this new precedent of why can't he just be why can't this be darker and less cartoony?
Yeah.
Still keeping with some of that, which is what I...
Yeah, there's some camp.
Which keeps it in the realm of, yes, this is a darker version of Batman. Yes, this isn't Adam West Batman. We're going to turn the lights down a little bit, but, I mean, they're still going to use poison gas. Yeah. He's still going to have a gadget for exactly what he needs right when he needs it, right? And again, this is just because I think our generation is now so used to realistic, practical Batman that when he has that plane,
the Batwing,
thank you, the Batwing, and he just so happens to be able to collect all the balloons right then and there, and it's got a little hook on it. My balloons. That's silly, right? Yeah. That's comic booky. That's the camp. Yeah. Then of course
now also before we move on to Returns, and a lot of people aren't going to acknowledge it, but when I was rewatching it last night, Michael Keaton's Batman fucking kills people, dude.
He does. I was thinking the exact same thing when I was watching. I go, he murdered those people.
He straight up kills the Joker.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Now granted, to be honest, Batman as a whole, even though he, I would never kill, he gets people very close. Even Christian Bale.
He drops some. He's got grenades. He's throwing back at people, and they're exploding.
Yeah, when the Joker's henchmen are attacking the Batmobile and he drops the grenades. He levels a building on people.
Listen. Especially in the second one, this dude is murdering at least 100 people.
Dude, and then, okay, even though I know you didn't like it, but in Batman v Superman, even Ben Affleck's Batman's killing
murdering so many people.
Oh my god. And our joke when we first saw the Batman, the trailer for the Batman,
He punches that guy to death.
He punches that guy to death,
That
dude.
guy died. Okay, so
So that is a good transition.
it's way more brutal because he's doing it with his hands. You know? And Michael Keaton's just like,
here, let me attach your leg to this like 50-pound gargoyle.
yeah, it was like, oh, we're gonna throw a grenade at you. Hope I caught it. Here's a back. You know what I mean? That's it, they die, but I mean he didn't really do it. You know, but
the grenade. So what you're saying is it's the Pete Holmes joke. The whole like, oh, look at that guy. He's all tuckered out.
Exactly. I was gonna say something about.
Sorry.
That's okay. We can always go back.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on to.
Okay. Yeah. So then 3 years go by. Well, technically 2 years go by because he did a year goes by because Scissorhands was 91.
Is it?
I don't remember. Scissorhands was like 90, and then 2 years go by, and Tim Burton does Batman Returns, which, as I learned, because I'll just go ahead and say this now, apparently Warner really wanted him back. Which is insane considering after this, they're like, we want to sell toys now.
Yeah.
Your movies are too dark. Yeah. But they apparently wanted him back, and they were like, why don't you make a Tim Burton movie? Which, of course, that's all you have to say. And Tim's like, okay. And
set it in Christmas. Let's do this.
And honestly, ma'am, as we said in the season 8 premiere, in my opinion, this is the better of the two.
It's better, right? Yeah.
And I think it's because everything was on point. The effects were better. Mm-hmm. The makeup and costume design, much better. It still had some camp to it.
Oh, way more this time.
Way more, but it was way darker at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think this is when we get the trope of two villains in the sequel.
Yeah.
Which, well, technically Catwoman's not a villain per se. She's more of like Black Cat to Spider-Man.
I can't tell you how disinterested I am in Catwoman.
Really?
Not so much in this one. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. That's not up for discussion. She's amazing. But
she is.
The character of Catwoman, I just don't care. I think it's just because, I don't know. I just don't like the back and forth or whatever. Like,
well, they have a love-hate relationship.
Is she good or bad? Like, I don't. It's so indecisive. It's so indecisive.
I would say Zoe Kravitz in the Batman gave us a little bit more closer to, not necessarily the comics, but closer to answering what Catwoman really is. And I would say she leans more, I'm just going to use a Dungeons & Dragons term, neutral,
alienated
good.
Everyone is.
I don't care. Okay. Even though I don't play Dungeons & Dragons. I would say she's like a neutral character. Like she's neither good nor bad, but she's more so self-interest. I
completely forgot about Black Cat, by the way, from Spider-Man. Is that what you called her? Black
Cat?
Is that her name?
Yeah.
The
Felicia Hardy.
The white hair.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Completely forgot about her. Good call. All right. So, okay. Batman
Returns.
Fucking Christopher Walken.
Dude.
Is the coolest. Right?
Fucking Max Schreck.
Does not exist in the comics?
As far as I have seen, he does not exist in the comics. So he was made...
Correct us if we're wrong, nerds.
Specifically for the movie. But he plays that crazy, literally kill for my businessman.
And this, I think, is where Burton is sort of cranking the dial up just a little bit throughout the whole movie on its comic bookness, because he looks like a fucking straight up
evil
cartoon.
villain.
He's a cartoon because his hair is ridiculous.
And well, in certain scenes, his eyebrows kind of curl.
It's crazy, right? And that's fun, right?
Yeah, it is.
This movie's more fun.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would say more fun in its camp, right? In its comic bookness, in its sort of unreality. Right? Yeah. once we get to the Penguins, it's gonna lose my mind. But we'll get to the Penguins later. Danny DeVito,
dude. When I told my mom again that we were doing this movie, she's like, "Well, that role was made for him."
I know,
and 100%, Danny DeVito. This is the only movie I remember. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think this was the first movie I ever saw him in when I realized who that was.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
me too, maybe.
I don't think I realized that he was also the dad in Matilda until much later.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh my god, is this the same guy?
I kind of wish that every Batman movie had another actor from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because remember DeVito was also in the Cuckoo's Nest.
Well, because Nicholson really urged him to do it.
Yes, he did, because Nicholson's like, dude, I made fucking bank on this movie, bro. You gotta do it. That was this reason, man.
He was like, bro, listen to me now, man.
I brought a Lamborghini, bro. You can do this movie, bro.
Look, I'm Mr. Beast level rich.
I fucking hate Mr. Beast so much.
But honestly, even if that was his motivation,
it was. I read it.
Well, yesterday. I know it was, because I read it too.
It's so funny.
But no one but Danny could have been the
Penguin. Agree, because Cobblepot needs to be...
Now, granted...
I know.
Colin Farrell's
like fucking awesome. But again...
But that's a different version of the Penguin.
And this is like... That's hyper-realism.
I think...
This is what you open your comic book... Oh, that's the Penguin, right? This is that version. Yeah. Except... This version is grosser.
Oh, 100%.
He's so gross.
Yeah, because in the comics...
He's more animalistic.
Yeah, in the comics, Penguin is... He doesn't have flippers. He does have hands, but he does have the long, pointy nose. He does smoke the cigarette, and he has the monocle and the top hat. But yeah, he's way more animalistic.
In the comics, he's like a gentleman bandit.
In a way. Yeah. Because in I may be misremembering again, but I believe in the lore of Batman, the Cobblepots were just as Gotham royalty as the Waynes.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then the Waynes...
Correct us if we're wrong, nerds.
I believe didn't destroy them per se, but revealed truths about the Cobblepots. And
also in this version, by the way, I texted you as soon as I saw him, and that's what
Paul Rubens.
That it was Paul Rubens. I go, no fucking. And even the woman is also in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
It's amazing.
Which is Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I texted Rain immediately last night when I was watching. I was like, "Oh, fucking Paul Rubens in this."
Yeah, Paul for 5 fucking minutes.
So good. But even in this version, you are seeing them as very well-to-do, very wealthy people, right?
Yeah.
And then they fucking give birth to Quasimodo, and then they did what Frollo wanted to do, is just ship him down.
Oh God, that's so good. Holy shit. Do you think Disney took inspiration?
No.
Batman Returns.
Hunchback is a very old story, but I see what you mean.
Oh my God. Anyway. No, I meant just for the animated movie.
Oh yeah, right, maybe.
But yeah, so that's so fucking good, dude.
Thanks, man.
Now, I will say this. Even though I a second ago said how much everything was on point for Batman Returns, this is when we start to get the ever-changing geography and that the city always looks different each movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because Gotham looks completely different. Like, we get, those big towering statues and
I do want to mention this. That this is the start of what I like to call Gotham has a ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is how I feel
watching
in these 4 specifically, these 4 Batmans that are technically a quadrilogy. Is that
technically
they're bunched together, right?
Oh, and if you're wondering, we will not do Batman Forever or Batman.
Probably not. Even though I do have a soft spot for Batman Forever, that's for sure.
I agree. Fuck Batman and Robin.
So it's at nighttime, and kind of even during the daytime, it seems like Gotham
is
indoors.
Yeah.
And
I think it's because they filmed most of it
indoors
and on sound stages and back lots. And
I think I read that it was either the first one or the second one that it was over half of the Warner Brothers lot was Gotham.
I think it was this one. I think it was Returns.
Oh, it was Returns. That's right.
Yeah.
over half of it was Gotham.
Yeah.
In some way or shape or form. But yeah, it's especially at night, but I would argue, yes, even during the day, that it just seems like it's inside, right?
Yeah.
It seems kind of claustrophobic and sort of like its own thing, like its own dark city, if you will.
Yeah. Shout out to our Dark City
Yeah.
episode. Or our Crow episode. Because you also said the same thing.
I did, yeah. Oh, did I really? Yeah. I'm so consistent, guys.
Because you said like, yeah, this gave me Dark City vibes, and then when we did Dark City, you're like, oh, it's because it was the same director.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm very consistent. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's what I want to say about Gotham City. But you're right, because it does look different. And I don't think it would have been the same. What you're saying about the start of this inconsistency in setting, it wouldn't have been that way for the Dark Knight trilogy. We would have had all three of them be Chicago, if only fucking Snyder didn't do Man of Steel in Chicago. That's why he changed it, I think.
Wait, yeah, well, no, because Nolan did it in Chicago.
Yes, for the first two.
That's right, because it looks like it's more New York.
In the third one.
In the third one,
yeah.
That's right. So when he's fighting Bane, it really looks like New York.
Right. And I think it's because he's like, oh, if Snyder's going to shoot in Chicago, I need to go somewhere else. It's like, no, stay in Chicago. It needs to be consistent.
Well, yeah, that's true, because technically, I believe somewhere, some article I read, or someone just told me, I don't remember, technically Gotham is a ramped up Chicago. Mm-hmm. So that's why it made more sense for Nolan to shoot it in Chicago. But
I forgot where he shot for the third one. It wasn't New York.
I don't think it was New York either. It just looks like it's New York.
What
if it's fucking Chicago?
What if it was New Jersey? Fucking Bruce Springsteen comes out of nowhere. I was like, no.
Well, I was mainly referring to the 4 movies, because between each movie, Gotham changes each movie. Especially when we get to fucking Batman and Robin. Oh my god.
We don't need to talk about Batman and Robin.
Like, Jesus.
Do we get more daytime in this in Returns? I think we do get more daytime.
We do. Yeah, Bruce.
It's weird seeing Gotham in daytime.
Yeah, because in Batman, I think it's only like 1 or 2 scenes. It's during the day.
Yeah.
Or at least we don't know it's during the day, like when they're filming the news. Like, it's probably during the day.
There needs to be more Billy D. Williams.
So
release the the D.B. Williams guy.
Did you know apparently he was going to be Two-Face? Like they had a plan that he was going to be Two-Face, and then for whatever fucking reason, when they did Forever, they called up Tommy Lee Jones.
As you do.
But thankfully, in the Lego Batman movie, Billy D. Williams does voice Two-Face.
Think about, okay, I want you, everyone, picture Billy D. Williams in your mind. Now think, if I can't get Billy D. Williams, who's the next best thing? Tommy Lee Jones. Next best thing, right there. It's either Billy D. or Tommy Lee. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so
right.
Let's go back to the characters. So
sure.
we've gushed over Christopher Walken. We've gushed over Danny DeVito. It's time to gush over Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, dude.
Dude, this is the first movie I ever remember seeing her.
Yes.
I fell in love with her instantly. Even though getting, as she's said numerous times, getting into that Catwoman suit was literal hell, and she never ever wants to see it
she
ever
went
again.
Through, I did you read this? She went through 60 of them. Each cost $1,000.
Mm-hmm. And they had to vacuum seal her into the suit.
Oh, man.
Which is interesting because when I was looking a little closely when I was rewatching it, it looked like her cowl was its own separate piece.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it might have been.
So they would put her in the suit, vacuum seal her into the suit, and then put that on. But dude, and what I love so much about this Catwoman is it's so Tim Burton. Like seeing the hardcore stitching all over the suit.
Yes, I was just about to talk about the stitching because it's almost scary. You know,
it really is.
And she's scary, I would say.
Yeah, this Catwoman is starkly different.
She's unhinged.
So like when we get Anne Hathaway in The Dark Knight Rises, her Catwoman is more kind of comic book accurate because she's more of a thief, which is what Catwoman is.
Yes.
Zoe Kravitz is kind of like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is completely unhinged.
Yeah.
And it's because
she's crazy. Yeah.
I guess had a concussion. I guess he didn't actually kill her.
Yeah, either that or this is where we get that comic book stuff, and she did die, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. Also,
Yeah.
he, and then we that crazy shit at the end where she's like, I got fucking 6 lives left,
and he keeps shooting her,
and whatever, dude. It's so.
And she
rad.
still had 2 lives left. Oh, dude.
So rad.
Did you know that? I'm sure you did, or if not, I'm about to blow your mind. They did fully mean they were going to do a third one with Tim. Michael Keaton was going to come back,
cool.
And him and Michelle Pfeiffer were going to like join forces in that one apparently, because they left it wide ass open that she was going to come back.
Yes,
but then as I said, when we started talking about this one, Warner Brothers was like, "Hey, we want to sell toys, and your movies are too scary."
Danny DeVito bit that guy's nose off.
Dude, he bit that guy's nose off hard.
And we can't sell toys like that, because he did, and that was scary.
Dude,
he's eating that fucking fish.
I know he's eating that salmon, which
so gross.
God, it's so gross.
It's so gross.
But again, like you said, this version of Penguin is more animalistic, which it works so well.
Now, here's the part that I think is the most comic book thing in the movie is that they make him out to be a public hero, like a likable public figure in Gotham.
Right. Yeah.
What? That's wild.
Yeah, his plan is that Christopher Walken's character, Max Schreck, is going to help him with his public image.
Yeah.
But mainly it's because, he has that plan.
Yeah.
And the only way he can get access to it is if the public likes him.
Yeah, and if he becomes mayor, Max Schreck has the mayor in his pocket.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Which is, there's a lot of, politics in this movie.
Right. So now this is sort of what a little bit of foreshadowing what's to become in future Batman movies, especially in Christopher Nolan's, because there is stuff like that.
Yeah.
In those.
Dude, oh man, all the politics in the Dark Knight trilogy is fucking awesome, dude.
It is digestible, I'll give him that.
Yeah,
it's understandable to me.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace, not so much, but these politics I understood.
Oh, I'm like, why are you? I was like, oh, you're making a comparison because the fucking first prequel of the Star Wars is just all intergalactic politics.
I was like, these things don't make you can't. I don't understand it because they're not real.
Yeah.
There's politics in this one, and so they're replacing sort of organized crime with sort of
the corruptible politicians.
Which again is sort of like organized crime, but it's a political organized crime.
Yeah. But man, dude, I still can't put my finger on it. Why this one's so much better? I don't know if it had. I don't know if
is it less boring.
I think that's the thing because they're both about 2 hours and 5 minutes long.
Yeah, they're
but this
longer
one,
than you'd think.
I think it's because this one is a little bit more.
There's more people.
Yeah, we have more storylines that we're following.
Or at least the people who are in it are doing more, right? Yeah. Or they're more interesting, right? Robert Wool isn't interesting. Sorry.
Thank God Knox didn't come back in this one. Could you imagine?
No.
But
I can't and I won't.
And and
also Christmas time.
Yeah.
Also, I like my movies in the winter. So I like winter movies. They're fun.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why the fuck do you think they put
so aggressive
the fucking bat signals on Bruce's house?
I don't know.
How?
Oh, by the way, so I want to talk about the bat signal. So I was watching a video and this guy was angry, right? Like most people making videos.
Yeah.
He was mad because he goes and he has pictures of all of the bat signals in all the movies, right?
Uh-huh.
And he goes, we could ignore a couple of these. Bye. Let's pay attention to these, right? Mm-hmm. And he's talking about the Burton one, right? The one we're talking about. He's talking about the Schumacher one. He's talking about Nolan. Mm-hmm. And he's going to talk about, I don't even think he talked about the Batman. I think it just, and he's like, maybe he did talk about the Batman. Even in the Batman, you can barely see it on the cloud, right?
Yeah.
you might as well not even have it, right?
Right.
He goes, that is just as realistic and probable as that. And he's pointing to the Burton one, which is cartoony. And, you know, it's like a sticker in the sky, right?
Uh-huh.
He goes, just do that. You know what I mean? Because that and that are the same. They both don't happen like that, right? If you shine a light up to a cloud, light doesn't reach the cloud. You're not going to get there, right?
Right.
So why bother making it super realistic, right? And which I understand.
Yeah.
I understand there are aesthetics, right, that people are trying to achieve. The Batman is, as we've said throughout this whole episode, hyper realistic, right?
Yes.
So,
Can't wait for part 2.
I know. So they're going to try to do a hyper realistic bat signal, which is impossible, right?
Yeah, because, you know...
what I'm saying is I love Burton just like, fuck it, let's just put the whole thing up there. Like it's a cartoon.
Let's just put the signals on his house so when it goes up in the sky, it triggers it down to those
Yeah.
and shines directly
So
in
good.
his living room.
It's so good. That shot is iconic.
Well, it is great. It's a great shot because
so
he's,
good.
you know, and this is when we kind of get our first brooding Batman because he's just sitting in his, I guess, library,
Sure.
brooding, and then he gets that signal. And it's like, ah.
By the way, one of my favorite lines in the first movie is they're in the dining room and he goes, I don't think I've ever been in this room before.
Which apparently Michael Keaton ad-libbed.
I love it.
Because Michael Keaton's was a comedian is his background. And so,
Shout out to Multiplicity.
yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Mom. Anyway,
I mean, and shout out to our episode, Beetlejuice. Yeah. I saw the TED scene.
it's so good.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Cut the shit.
He
It's so mad.
Hey, you can help us. Beetlejuice. Hey, you don't know what you're messing with powers you don't understand. So, dude, I refuse to see Ted 2, but
Genuinely concerned for their safety.
that's
when he's doing
the
that.
best part.
It's so funny. Anyway,
So, okay.
what I meant by all of that digression is I love Tim Burton is just using a very simple, very recognizable bat signal. He's not trying to make it realistic. Who fucking cares, right? Yeah. And according to this guy, why bother, right?
Right.
Because you're not going to reach the cloud anyway.
Right. I think another reason why this Batman movie was better than the first one, I think is because of the subplot of the Penguin and Catwoman trying to taint Batman's image. Mm-hmm. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because as we learn later on in 2002 with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, you go for the heart. But in this case, since, you know, no one knows who Batman is, you just destroy his image.
Right.
And it's so good.
It gives a sort of montagey feel because they have several different attempts to do this, right? And I do like that they kidnapped that. She was so goddamn funny. The weather girl or the whomever she was.
Oh, the like Miss Winter or something like that.
Holy Jesus, she was so funny because even she was like, okay, so the light comes on and I press the button. No, I press the button, then the light comes on. I press the button, then the light.
It's almost like they were trying to make a commentary on that pageant women are dumb.
Really stupid. Yeah. Still made me laugh.
Yeah.
Don't care. Okay. So yes, I did like that a lot. Mm-hmm. I liked that they used her and they used his little remote control batarang, which is one of the first times they used computer generated graphics for
and it wasn't that bad looking.
Not bad. It's not Jurassic Park good, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Jurassic Park was only a couple of years after this, right?
Not even. I think the next year it was Jurassic Park.
Oh, shit, dude. I should have called Spielberg.
And this is 92, then yeah, Jurassic Park's 93.
Yeah. I should have called Spielberg.
Should have called Spielberg. So I like that. The dialogue in this was just crazy. In Returns, I want to call the episode so bad. Just the pussy I was looking for. Sorry, honey, if you listen. She hates it when I say that word. It's because
you're talking about a cat.
I don't say it with confidence, so I don't. It sounds weird when I say it. It doesn't matter. But anyway,
we're talking about a cat though, which is. But I mean, of course,
so weird, and I kind of loved it.
The scene he's referring to is the Penguin comes back to his hideout, and Catwoman is waiting for him because he's like, since he's been down in the sewers for ever, seeing any sort of woman gets him all kinds of riled up.
He's a straight up predator in this movie, but
dude, 100%.
When he's putting that button on that girl, oh man, that
He's
poor
like-
woman. He's like, I was gonna put it right there. Just let me get.
Oh, see, that's right before that.
Yeah.
It's right before. Oh my god.
Dude's just unhinged. Well, it's because he's never been around people.
Well, then when I never caught it the first time I ever saw the movie, but when he's murmuring to himself about the image lady, he's like, "I'll show her my French flipper trick," and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I know he's out of his mind.
And the look on Christopher Walken's face is gold because I don't know, maybe it was in the script or maybe Danny Video just ad-libbing, but he's just like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
The scene where Catwoman is waiting for him in his room or wherever it is, that scene is also bananas crazy because then she eats the bird.
Oh yeah, eats the bird.
He's gonna slice the cat in half until she lets go of the bird, which she hasn't eaten. It's just living in her mouth.
I know, dude.
Movie's crazy,
and I
kind of like it.
I do too, and I think that's why it works better because I think again they told Tim make a Tim Burton movie, and he was like, okay. And then unfortunately they wouldn't let him make a Superman movie.
Are you sure, dude? Is there a documentary about it yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the death of Superman.
I think I heard about it from Kevin Smith talking about because he was put on to be a writer.
He was one of the writers.
Right.
He was one of 3 writers to write that movie.
And I think that
movie would have been.
I think Nick Cage would have been so cool.
That movie would have been fucking.
Especially if he had kept his long hair.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That movie would have been fucking cool.
Yeah. And maybe we would have actually gotten a connected DC universe.
I think that was the goal.
Yeah, that makes sense. That didn't rush. That didn't, didn't try to do it all at the same time.
But unfortunately, they wanted to sell toys. To quote Chris O'Donnell with that stupid fucking Batman and Robin movie, I felt like we were making a toy commercial.
Yeah.
Which is true because I had some of those toys.
So did I. So they succeeded.
Yeah.
All right. Batman Returns. Okay. Focus. The Penguins. This is where.
Okay. Yeah. This is when Tim kind of threw all logic out the window.
Well, and it's now we're comic book logic, right? Yeah. Now we're talking did he have a device on these penguins or are they just sentient? I don't remember, even though it was last night.
Yes and no. They are sentient.
Weird.
But they do have little hats, but from what I could tell, it was sending the signal to them. Because when Batman and Alfred jam the signal, they all disperse. And they go back to the zoo. So, both, maybe?
Okay. But I do like, in this version, the penguin has an army of penguins.
Yeah, that's what's up.
And so...
those are his babies.
His babies. Other comic book things that I loved is he has a toy remote control Batmobile that he drives when he controls the Batmobile.
And it's a fucking
it's like
quarters.
A quarter, yes.
It's always been one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Right? That's insane. Right?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Which I loved.
He's got a little toy chest of different umbrellas that do different things.
And his rubber ducky boat.
Yeah, boat / car.
Sure.
Yeah.
Obsessed. Can't get enough of that. Love the campiness, the otherworldliness of it.
Yeah,
this true comic book feeling place, which is why again I really like Tim Burton's Batman's because you're not having to really sacrifice a dark Batman story with but if I have a dark Batman story, I can't have this. Yes, you can. He's got it all in there.
Yeah. Now I will say this though. We've been kind of throwing a lot of shade at Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
That's fine.
Because Warner Brothers did not want Tim to come back, even though they wanted him in a producer role, which he said he was fine with, which I wouldn't have been fine with.
Hey, you get a check either way.
I'd be go fuck yourself. But interestingly enough, in Batman Forever, Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne is the darkest version of Bruce Wayne. Truly, really. I watched, in Val, he talks about that his Bruce Wayne was the most brooding. He had the most pretty much personal demons.
I'm thinking about it. this might be true.
Okay.
That might have been the first Batman movie I ever saw. Was Batman Forever.
That, I would believe it would be true because I want to say that's the first one I ever saw.
Which is crazy to think that I've now grown up and he's not my favorite. Even though I love Val Kilmer.
Shout out to Val Kilmer.
Sure.
Buddy, we love you.
He's so good.
He's the best person. Fuck anyone else who says that he's difficult to work with.
I mean, maybe he used to be.
I mean, RDJ didn't say he was difficult to work with.
I love Kiss Kiss Bang
Dude,
Bang.
okay, 100%. That will be a future episode.
Yeah.
I fucking love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That could be our Christmas episode. How about that?
Oh, I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
But anyway, the point I'm making is I don't think Warner would have even tried to do that had Tim not done Batman and Batman Returns.
Yeah, no,
I think Val let those two movies affect his performance. I think he knew, well, Bruce has got to be dark.
Right.
He's got to be brooding.
Right.
And then look, I love George Clooney, but his Bruce is way too goofy.
And he said it himself. He was the worst one.
Yeah. I saw a video. It was totally for clickbait, but a guy was like, they've just confirmed the Batman for James Gunn's Batman Brave and the Bold, and it's George Clooney.
That would have been so cool.
I'm like, first of all, the man is pushing 60. He's openly said he's probably going to retire from acting soon. Why the fuck would he agree to come back as Batman?
Can I tell you something?
Tell me.
I'd watch it.
You would watch it?
Sure.
I would only watch it is if he pulled out some like Michael Clayton shit and went dark with it.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, all right, let's go.
I fucking love Michael Clayton. Anyway, that's a great movie.
Or The American.
I didn't see that.
Neither did I.
Okay.
I just know he's also really great in it. Shout out to George Clooney.
Like, what if he pulled it? What if he just turned it around and was like, and
it was like, hey, remember? Okay, Batman and Robin. Yeah, that movie sucked, but I killed it.
What if people saw George? Sorry, hang on. What if George Clooney did a new Batman movie and his performance was so fucking good that people were like, this is the only version of Batman we want for the rest of our lives.
I know James Gunn's like, hey, George, you need to sign a 20-year contract.
And he won like all the Oscars or whatever.
Imagine, dude.
And
people are just going to listen to us laughing now.
And George Clooney plays every role in the movie.
Even his son Robin.
He plays Robin. He plays Joker. He plays Catwoman.
God, that'd be so ridiculous.
Anyway, so that was a stupid tangent. But anyway. I agree about Val. I really like the movie's not great, but I really like his Batman. But Keaton. So Keaton in this one, I feel is exactly the same.
He kind of is.
I was trying to think of maybe he did something else different, but really when I watched him,
he's a little bit more. I've noticed he was a little bit more sassy.
Is he less charming in this one? No. That can't be true.
No.
I think it's because he's not really trying to. Is he trying to get with Selena Kyle? Or is he just trying to. I mean, who wouldn't? But
100%.
Or is he just trying to keep her away from Penguin? Because there's no way he doesn't know that she's
Catwoman. He doesn't figure it out until the Christmas party. Mm-hmm. Then he figures it out. Okay. Well, they both figure it out. But here's the other thing. So he's a little bit more sassy in this one. Like when Alfred's telling him how they need to beef up security, and he's like, you want to talk about security? Who let Vicky Vale in the bat cave? He's like, I turn around, I'm like working, but I turn around, I'm like, oh, Vicky. Like he's a little bit more sassy,
which is fun.
He's also a little bit more blunt. Like when he straight up accuses Max Schreck he was like, yeah, you're joining with an organized gang leader. Like, really? Like, why would I ever help you with this power plant? And then he's also a little bit more bumbling. Like, when he meets Selena, he's like, oh yeah, we've met. Oh no, I mistook you for someone else. But he says, oh, I mistook me for someone else.
I think you're right. He's leaning more. There are times when it's more comedic, right? It's a more comedic performance, which is classic Keaton, right? I love
Yeah.
Michael Keaton so much. Is the Batsuit different? No.
A little bit.
It looked different.
A little bit. They added more.
It's been so long since I've seen these movies, so
They added a little bit more armor to the chest part. They also changed the boots. In the first movie, they were, I don't know what the fuck they were, but in this one, they were Air Jordans.
that's so cool. I did not know.
Yeah. Yeah, they were Air Jordans that had like a plate to make them look like they were boots.
How pissed do you think everyone else was? He's getting to wear sneakers
all day, yeah.
all day,
and fucking Michelle Pfeiffer's in like high heels.
high heels. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's got to be the worst. And I mean, and of course, everyone else is in dress shoes.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Fucking Christopher Walken's in like the spats and shit.
Yeah, he's in like wingtips, and then and then Keaton's over there like, I'm in my Jordan, man. I mean,
yeah. Someone throw me the rock real quick.
I'm in my fresh J's right now. Oh. I want to talk about Bob in the first one. I love Bob. Joker's henchman. There's main henchman, Bob.
Oh yeah. Oh, you are. Which is fun because they mirrored that scene from earlier with I can't think of the actor's name. He was in both City Slickers movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they mirror that, yeah, Bob's great, and then he fucking kills Bob.
Yeah, because the balloons got stolen.
Those were my balloons.
I'm so mad.
Bob, let me see your gun.
Terrible. Now, to go back to the first Batman, it made me laugh. When he pulls the gun out of his pants, it's gigantic. But then on the stairs at the cathedral or whatever, he just like it was a telescoping rod. He just shoved the barrel down. It was what the fuck is going on?
Well, of course, that also has one of my favorite bits of when he's fighting. You know, when he and Joker are finally fighting, and he does all like, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?" So good.
It is really good. I hope that was someone's favorite part, and they're like, they're not going to talk about the fucking glasses.
And I hope you didn't turn us off.
I know.
Like, I hope you made it this far, and then now you're like,
they talked about the glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I love both movies, and like I said, they are. Without these movies, again, we would have never gotten all the Batman.
You wouldn't have gotten the animated series, which again is my.
If we never got that, that would be a travesty.
Of course,
especially because then we would never gotten Mask of the Phantasm.
That's right.
Which is single-handedly not only a future episode, but B, probably in my top 5 greatest Batman movies.
Yeah, Batman movies. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I even told Shep about it because my 70-year-old friend Shep at work, he's my work husband, and we were talking about the movies today, and I was telling him, hey man, like you gotta check out Mask of the Phantasm.
And what's great is you don't have to watch the animated series to get the movie.
Even though I did tell him, it's worth it.
Yeah, watch the animated. Watch the 4 seasons.
Well, volumes. Right. I think there's only literally 2 seasons or 3 seasons, but there's like 4 volumes if you go DVD.
Yeah, and then of course also, you know, we would have never gotten Batman Beyond, which of course you and I had a lengthy discussion about. But anyway, yeah, it just
there is a true legacy that follows these 2 movies that are really great. These are great movies. They're a lot of fun. They're the perfect mix between dark and brooding and serious and real, and then super fun and goofy and cartoony and, you know, dumb, you know?
Yeah.
And it's that perfect balance. I don't know how Tim Burton does it.
Because we're going to talk more about that with some of my other picks this season too.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of, especially in the next one, there's that really dark side of the movie, and then there's that whimsical sort of light, bubbly side, and then you mix the two, and it's the meaning of the 2 worlds. We'll get there.
Can I say something though about that movie?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to finally understand how it was a Tim Burton movie, because you know all the houses are so bright.
I know.
I was like, this isn't a Tim Burton movie. And then later on, it was like I realized, oh, that's how he he plays with color.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was Edward Scissorhands. That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hang on.
But with with Batman, I can honestly say that it truly is amazing that. So okay, Tim Burton did. I'm trying to get the things correct. He did
Beetlejuice before
Yes,
Batman.
he did Beetlejuice before Batman. I think he did one other one right before Beetlejuice. That was his first one.
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman, thank you. So he did Pee Wee Herman, which is insane, but it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's whatever. So he did Pee Wee Herman, he did Beetlejuice, and then he gets this gigantic production for Batman, right?
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is, I guess, technically involved with Beetlejuice, but I don't know if it was after the fact, right?
Well, didn't they own
I think
Studios?
so. I think it was like a sister company
yeah,
or like
it was because at the very end of my it's either my 4K or my Blu-ray, it says parent company.
There it is.
Orders. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he gets this huge production, and it really is a big Hollywood production, right?
Didn't you tell me all the way back in season 1 during 80s month that to promote the film he bought billboard space and it was just the logo.
The logo, yes. And people would go, I can't believe I completely forgot about this. People would go buy a ticket for a movie just to see the trailer.
That's right, because they snuck
Batman.
the trailer into movies, so people didn't even know.
Just to see the trailer for Batman, and then they wouldn't stay for the movie.
That's
right? All they wanted to
insane.
see was Batman because, again, people, or especially that generation, was like, I kind of don't like the campiness of Batman.
Yeah, because
I think it's too goofy, it's too silly. I don't like it. Right?
Yeah.
Dad would disagree with you, but Dad loved the show. But of course, it's mostly nostalgia.
Well, and it's also of the time,
Right.
Yeah. But.
And they were just like, it's a dark version of Batman, like for realsies.
So, of course, now you say dark version of Batman, you're like, well, how can it get darker than the Batman where I guess Gotham passed a 1 light bulb per household law?
Or it's like, did David Fincher make this? This is so terrifying.
Jeez, dude, imagine.
So it basically is 7 with Batman in it.
Yeah.
You know, which have we done 7?
No, we have not.
Okay. There is, I'm sure I've talked about it before on the show, that that there is a fan theory that 7 takes place in Gotham before Batman.
I think you have.
Yeah.
'Cause I want to say you said that because I was like, that's interesting.
And it there's nothing to say it doesn't. So, which I'll wait.
Because the city's unnamed.
No, on purpose. Like, they don't name what city it is. They just complain about it, right? Or people say, why are you still here? Or why would you live here?
Dude,
or,
it's because Fincher's the best.
I know.
If you haven't figured it out by now, we love David Fincher.
Yeah, and will forever and ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, if you were to say a dark, brooding Batman, you're like, fuck, another one?
Yeah.
You know?
But in 1989, you're like,
I'm in.
What?
Let's go. Right, now, let's go. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the billboards just had the logo, just the bat symbol.
Yeah, hopefully maybe Future Rain put that poster
Yeah,
back
that'd be
up
great.
again.
Because it's rad.
The poster, hopefully he picked the correct poster art, which is just the Batman logo. It just says Batman.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And some of them didn't even say Batman. It just had the logo.
If Future Rain can find that one, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it. I'm sure, because I'm pretty sure all of them just say it has the logo.
Which is
Batman.
great marketing, because it's ambiguous enough, but also recognizable enough.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the time as recognizable because that's not what the bat signal or the bat symbol looks like.
Yeah, Tim altered it a little bit because in Return it looks more classic Batman. Also, hang on, sorry, I just remembered an oops, I forgot.
Oh, sure.
This is the first time we ever see the movie not acknowledge the fact he has to wear eye makeup.
Eye makeup.
Because in Batman Returns, when he rips off his cowl, which like, man, Bruce, you have X amount of those.
I
man.
know.
Why are you ripping it?
I did
But
think
if
about
you
that.
look really carefully, you can see that the eye makeup had been removed.
Yeah.
Same with Batman v Superman in the nightmare sequence.
Yes.
Ben Affleck's got his cowl on, he's got his eye makeup, but then when Henry Cavill rips it off,
There's no eye makeup.
there's no eye makeup. So thank God Matt Reeves was like, no, he has to put on eye makeup.
I don't think Bale had eye makeup. Did he have eye makeup?
No, I don't believe he did, because I think they made the cowl almost right along the eyes.
Just his eyes.
So he didn't have to.
Maybe he didn't. Yeah. Although,
Or no, I think he
he
did.
did.
I think he did by the time Dark Knight came around.
honestly, the only one that's ever acknowledged it is the new one, the Matt Reeves one.
Thank God Matt Reeves was like, he has to put on eye makeup.
Yeah, I don't understand. He's so emo. He has to wear
He
it.
has to wear it.
It's eyeshadow. Like he listens to
Nirvana.
He listens to Black Veil Brides. He puts on his eye makeup and he puts the cowl.
Could you imagine if fucking they had a Black Veil Bride song in the movie? God. Anyways.
Right.
So Jeremy,
Yeah,
are you ready to wrap up?
I am.
Okay.
These movies are great.
They're good.
The first one's kind of boring. Who cares? It's still fun.
Yeah. If you're looking for just a fun Batman movie, yeah, definitely watch Batman. But if you're wanting just a little bit more substance, Batman Returns.
And a little bit more just chaos and insanity and just we're letting the reins out a little bit on this one. Let's go with Batman Returns.
Yeah. If you want a Tim Burton movie, watch Batman Returns.
And if that's all the craziness you can handle, you can stop right there.
Yeah.
And don't keep going.
And yeah, unless you want it ruined. Although I'm about to call out my wife. She loves Batman and Robin. And
a real shame.
I have tried so hard to make her understand how it's not a good movie.
I've contacted lawyers on your behalf. They're waiting.
But thankfully she likes these two as well.
Yeah.
They're just not her favorites.
Haley does not like Batman at all. So she
Well,
doesn't
that's right.
she doesn't like the character of Batman, which is fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
It's okay. She loves Captain America. So.
She loves herself some Marvel and some Captain America. That is for sure.
That's okay. That's okay. To each their own.
That is correct.
Yes.
I've told her if we have kids, can they have a Batman themed room? And I only say it so she can go, what? I go, never mind.
Never mind.
Spider-Man it is.
It'll be in secret. What?
What?
So Jeremy.
Yes.
Even though you teased it
Yeah.
in our season 8 premiere, what are we going to be talking about next week?
So yes,
And I'm going to kill you for it.
it's gonna be fine. I think you might like it. I don't know. I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh my God.
So I love the concept of it. So here we go. Again, we just did Tim Burton. Now back to Fritz Lang.
Yep.
We are going to be discussing Dr. Mabuse, the Gambler, next week. It is a 4-hour silent film. It is organized crime. It's a crime drama. It's espionage a little bit. He's wearing disguises. How fun. He's like a criminal overlord, Dr. Mabuse. Okay. It's about all I know. You know, he is the king of crime, wherever they are. I think it's Berlin.
Now this isn't the only Dr. Mabuse.
No, there
movie.
are 4.
So why this one?
It's the first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah. After this, it's the Last Testament of Dr. Mabuse, and then it's the Thousand Eyes of Dr. Mabuse, and then there's one more, I think.
Well, you know, the only thing I know about the movie is the name, because I'm pretty sure I showed you the scene. There's an anime I really like called Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And they made a movie for it called Conqueror of Shambhala, where the main character, Edward, is now in the real world. I mean, sort of a subversion of the real world, but because in his reality, alchemy actually exists. But, you know, it's too much to get into. But in the movie, he meets Fritz Lang. But when Fritz Lang first introduces himself to him, he calls himself Dr. Mabuse.
Did he have his monocle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Edward mistakes him for a different character a character from his a person from his reality.
Gotcha.
But then when he first introduces himself, he calls himself Dr. Mabuse, and then later on, Edward's like, "That's not your actual name, is it?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, my name is Fritz Lang."
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool, especially because this is before I'd even heard of Fritz Lang.
Yeah.
And I was like,
sure.
But so that's all I know is the name, Dr. Mabuse.
I want to see what a 4-hour epic. Now, this is not his only one. His only
4-hour long movie.
Yeah, he had some before this.
Well, I mean, when we did Metropolis, it's
long.
It was
Yeah, and
3?
almost. And then there was still footage lost, so it was even longer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As I think you remember, they had to put some text on screen for context, like, here's what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
This footage is lost, right? And then you keep going.
Yeah.
So it was even longer than that. I just want to see what a 4-hour silent film epic, crime epic looks like. It's not even one of great scale and adventure. This is just pure, crime and justice, which is going to be really interesting to watch.
So Odd Man Out, if it was just all crime.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. And if it was the twice long.
And not with politics of the time that we don't understand.
Yes, so there might be some of that. I don't know. I'm excited.
Even though I told you I was going to kill you.
Let me check my list real quick. I need to make sure. Don't talk to me. Okay, so I will give another just heads up after Dr. Mabuse is Spies.
Now, that one I am excited for just because I really like the Kino artwork for it. I really like that, so I'm excited for that one.
So after Dr. Mabuse is Spies, and then after Spies, you should be good finding the other ones.
Yeah, those are the next 3.
Yeah. So the first 3 is just they're silent films. That you.
Oh, you mean like they're in sound?
After Spies isn't sound.
Cool.
But the first 3 are not. So Destiny, Dr. Mabuse, Spies, those are silent films, which you can find them very easily on Amazon to purchase. But if you don't want to do that, or those of you following along at home,
I even struggled to find. You can rent them on iTunes, but if I had the choice between renting it or buying it, I just chose to buy it.
Of course, but we're collectors through and through, right?
Yeah.
Some people aren't, and that's fine. So Spies, that's going to be in 3 weeks.
Yes.
So just be on the lookout for that. But Dr. Mabuse is next week.
Yeah. Well, we hope everyone enjoyed the double feature of Batman and Batman Returns. And we will see you next week for Dr. Mabuse, the Gambler.